Okay, we are live. Let's
Good to
do
be
some
here.
checks here. Yeah. Hey, Jesse.
Hey, Kev, can you hear
So
me? How's my sound?
your sound's great. Your sound's
That's
great. I
good.
think
You
we
sound
just,
good too.
yeah, I think we just get going here and um, okay, good. All right. So I'm going to minimize one of my screens. Hello, everyone. Welcome all new community members. Uh, we love the support from everyone over the last few weeks. So we're here again with another one of our video AMAs. I got a lot of stuff to talk about, a lot of exciting announcements, a lot of just what's on our agenda for the next 1 month, 2 month. What are we thinking long term? And we've got amazing news that's kind of come over the wire over the last few weeks. We've got Blackrock, who's interested in tokenization. We've got tons of funds following suite, and happy to kind of elaborate, share our insights, share some exciting initiatives we have in April, and connect with everyone here. So I've got we've got Hudson with us. He's in the chats. We've got Jesse Gage, my best friend. He's here with me today.
Hello.
So Jesse, maybe you can do a quick introduction, and we can start ripping and roaring.
Thanks, Kev, and great to be here with everybody. It's a beautiful day or evening. Thank you all so very much for joining us. As Kevin said, my name's Jesse Gage. Many of you probably already know me, but some of you may be new here, so welcome. It's an honor to have you guys here. We're so excited to really kick off April with you guys because we have a ton of exciting stuff coming up. My name's Jesse, and I lead the kind of marketing program with Propbase. I've known Kevin for, I'd say, almost 15 years now. Let's just say 15 years. So I lead marketing with Propbase, and I've been really involved with Propbase Spark. We've really brought a lot of community on board. The community's been advocating for our projects, and we really appreciate the support and having you guys play such a huge part in this project. It's amazing to see. And we've got some really exciting announcements coming up around some listings and some other activities that Kevin's going to tell you a lot about more soon. But it's an honor to be here, and we're also looking forward to taking some of your questions. So back to you, Kev.
Yeah, great. So to give you guys kind of an understanding, we're going to run about an hour. We'll do about, I'm going to try and keep this presentation to a little bit shorter. We have kind of standard process with Propbase. We always like to do giveaways. So we'll be doing the same type of giveaway we always do. It's $100. It goes to best questions. You can put your questions in the comments. You can also just put them in our Telegram chat, and we'll get to them. Also, if you have a big question and it didn't get answered, because sometimes we get a lot of questions on these AMAs, we always try and go back in through our Telegram group or however, and try and make sure everyone's happy with the questions. But I guess the first thing I always like to do is a quick shout out to some core community members. We first, I guess, with some of our KOLs. So we've got Lavrin, he's awesome. Thank you so much for the post just about your communication with me. That really makes me feel happy. I saw Coin Esper had an amazing post about Blackrock, about Aptos, incredibly smart individual who's really been able to nail down on almost what inside information is. And so, in having said that, we've really grown our influencers over the last few months with Propbase Spark and the marketing campaign we're running now, which is called Propbase Rise. But also one of the things that has, over the last few weeks, we've really seen core community members in our Telegram chats, everyone really step up. And I just wanted to say a quick shout out to, all the guys who are always there supporting new members coming in, helping on board that process. We've got, Dodger Blue, we've got, Soul Cora, we've got all the guys coming in, Up Only, Uppy, we've just got tons and tons of amazing community members, and that really is important to us. It also helps our community management team, which is also fantastic. So Brad, Puma, Shrey Sith, we've got Oz, we've got Yusuf, we've got all the guys you guys interact with. It really helps just build one thing, which we want is just, a healthy community, healthy attitude. We love to see it. And, myself, Jesse, we're in the Telegram chats. We're there. We read the comments. We get DMs from community members all the time. We like to hear from you. And so part of the AMAs are about that. That's the part that we like the most. So I'm going to run through a quick presentation. And I kind of want to give you guys a little bit of an understanding of, what's happened over the last few weeks. Why is RWA more attractive now than what it was 6 months ago? And how Propbase is what I consider perfectly positioned to really capitalize. I mean, in summary, Propbase is a fairly easy model to understand, specifically for people who are new to crypto, or maybe they're familiar with real estate investment. We're also in a narrative that now is trending. So we've done everything exceptionally well, and we're really excited because we're really just getting started. So 2024 is a big year for us. April of 2024 is a big month for us. And we have a lot on the roadmap going into H2 of 2024. And we already have a long-term vision of what Propbase needs to look like. How do we get there from where we are now? And what do we need to do in order to capture the opportunity that is in front of us? And we fully intend to capture, grow, and scale Propbase to be a top, not only crypto, but a global brand name. And so as funny as that might sound for people on the call, Jesse and I and Hudson, we've done this before, building scalable marketplaces, hiring, onboarding, and doing this in an effective and really transparent and rewarding aspect for all participants involved. So we're excited. I'm going to hop now onto some aspect, and then we'll take community questions for the second half of the hour. We're just open to talk and get feedback, as well as kind of lay out what we plan for the next few months, really. Okay. So a few exciting announcements. I'm gonna fly to Hong Kong, and I will be speaking on a real world asset panel discussion with the CEO of Aptos and a few other participants. This is on April 3rd, and we'll try and get some broadcasts live, see how we can manage that when I get there. And it's really just another opportunity for us to bring and spread awareness around Propbase. Personally, I'm a strong believer in Aptos. I think a lot of you guys always have known this. I love the tech. I submit and deploy contracts. I love the environment, the CLI in which we always work. I love the structure in which some of the functions are enabled. I love the technology that is behind it, as well as just the support from the Aptos team when we need it. They've been there for us, specifically when we have questions. And I'm through and through a big believer in what Aptos can be, and they also have a magnificent track record in the space, especially being in such a competitive area as layer ones. So for us, we're excited about participating on the panel. It's a great opportunity to showcase Propbase, to spread awareness in the Aptos community, to meet a bunch of other builders. And there's tons of VCs who are participating specifically at this event. And, Propbase is, top of mind for a lot of people in the crypto space. And, we've been reached out not only by tier one exchange or top tier exchanges, but also by a lot of VCs who are interested in our value proposition, our USBs, how we're approaching the market, as well as just our phenomenal traction over the last 6 months. So one of the questions we always get in terms of community, and where we also want to kind of lay out, and we kind of have laid out before in the past, but we always want to come back to the basics. So if you're a new community member and you're just finding out about Propbase, you want to know who we are, what our backgrounds are, what our ethos is, everything, then, you know, really we have a clear plan, a clear vision. We know exactly the type of products we're building. We know how to implement those products. We build betas of those products. We successfully launched Propbase Yield. Now we're closely approaching testnet of Propbase Nexus, and then it's kind of off to the races. So we've signed up phenomenal asset tokenization partnerships. We've announced these over the last few months. And this is quite exciting, but really when it comes down to it, it is the number one community question is, what are we doing with exchanges? What conversations are we having? What exchanges are we planning on listing to? And so that's kind of what brings us to really the slide after that. But really, we also want to emphasize, you know, hey, what's going on in the market with RWA, right? So why BlackRock? Why Aptos? What's the RWA narrative, and what does it mean for Propbase? So currently, Propbase is one of the largest projects currently building on the Aptos blockchain, and we are purely RWA real estate tokenization focused. So what happens is you have this narrative of institutionalized money. You have these funds that want to get into really being able to acquire tokenized assets. And personally, what I see is the tokenization of real world assets is the future. It's undeniable. The traction is there. The narratives are there, but the technology is also there. So Aptos has recently released, you know, the next standard of token deployment. It has compliance integrated into it. It's something that Propbase uses, and it really comes down to, hey, what chain, what specific area, what assets are they bringing on chain, and then specifically, how can these funds access these tokenized assets? And so, how does this really play into props? Well, our model's fairly straightforward. We're tokenizing assets that have a global appeal. In our case, Wyndham Hotels, we've announced these partnerships, Hilton, Pullman, Banyan Tree. We like to focus on assets that have a global appeal, that people are familiar with, that really are progressive, they're transparent, they're big brands, right? This is how big brands enter Web3 in a utility-based format. And so what I see now is really the opportunity where we have these 3 to 4 players. They're all bringing in perfect recipe for success. And I can see Aptos making moves in the RWA space. Propbase is right there. You now have big fund managers, big funds looking to get into this space. And they want great assets that are on chain, that are divisible through tokenization, that have the benefits, the liquidity, the access in order for them to do so. And that is the mission of Propbase. Propbase is fully focused on executing on this. And right now we're in Thailand, we're focused in Southeast Asia, and you know, we have the partnerships, we have the backgrounds, we have everything we need to do in order to be successful. And then for us to then look to the next level. So Propbase is not going to be a small business. We have a lot of ambitions for the future. We see this as a huge opportunity over the next 12 to 24 months. And we plan to capture on that opportunity. And that kind of goes in line with really how RWA is going to play into becoming one of the biggest crypto narratives in the space over the next 24 months. And we're seeing that right now. And this is kind of something we've seen 12 months ago, 6 months ago, but it's nice to see a much greater awareness around this, because it's probably one of the biggest impacts that blockchain can have, aside from, Bitcoin in and of itself. So bringing the assets, specifically real estate, whether it be T-bills, equities, bonds, these coming on chain, just the benefits outweigh the risk. And while a lot of these managers are conservative in nature, the opportunity is there and it's attractive. And so for the meantime, we're really focused specifically on this goal, and we continue to be focused on this goal. But one of the aspects is building out our native utility token economy, which is props. And so as we really focus in doing so, that involves us being on CEXs, being on more DEXs, and part of our next level is really to put forward an exchange listing roadmap. So we've been pretty clear, I think, on all past AMAs and when you guys talk to me, just about how we're looking at the market and where we're at. So Propbase, we did our TGE on November 10th, 2023. We're now on 3 centralized exchanges. We're on 3 decentralized exchanges. And for the purpose of this infographic, I mean, our objective is to be on tier 1 exchanges, top tier exchanges first and foremost. How do we get there? Well, we're one step closer in that path. So over the last few weeks, something's changed. The attention around RWA has changed. We've had a significant amount of interest from top tier exchanges, not only interacting with us, but we've actually had some of them reach out to us. And it has to do with the qualifications. Our trading volume is significant. It's attractive. We're easy to understand. We've got all the documentation, legal frameworks that we need in order to list on exchanges. And, we have the volume and the traders. And so I think that, for us, we are pretty transparent in announcing, what we want to. But we are listing on a significant top 10 exchange in April. And in the next slide, I'll kind of walk you through kind of our game plan for the next 2 months, because we always like to make sure our community members are informed and they know what's going on, what we're doing in the background or what we're doing in marketing, and how our community can also support Propbase and help us achieve and reach our goals together, right? So that's a big part of our focus. So we will be listing on major exchanges. Jesse and I do this. We already have conversations with every top tier exchange, with an objective really to list on the big ones, really as we continue to grow our trading volume. So we have been approved for 2 top tier exchanges, and we plan to be listing on 1, and we'll make those announcements when everything is ready. But we're quite excited about it, and it's a lot of hard work, by the way, you guys. So we put a lot of work into making sure it's there. We're also very cognizant about negotiations and making sure that the props token doesn't decrease in value. Our focus this year is to increase the dollar value of props. So that's one thing that we always gear to. You've seen Hudson kind of discuss about it over the past, and that's our focus. So within this kind of CEX listing roadmap, we will continue to list on more decentralized exchanges. We've had conversations with a few, but our focus is top tier, right? So we want to be on every top exchange in the next 12 months. And we want to do so and make sure every one of our exchange listing partners, we're there for a long time, and that we can continue to support those exchanges with either trading competitions or marketing or however, in order to make sure that everyone has a fun experience and that we have adequate liquidity. So moving on now to the next slide. So a little bit about our next, let's say, 2-month kind of game plan. So as mentioned, next week, we're heading to Aptos event in Hong Kong. Panel discussion, lots of networking. So lots of meetings lined up. I'll be able to share a lot of photos, even do some video while I'm there. And, we'll try and put that together specifically only for the Propbase community. So, be looking out for that in the next week. Another exciting part of our announcements is really what we're looking at from really the next 2 months. So we've now deployed and built our full tokenization engine, which is now going to move on to testnet. We've already engaged some testers. We've nearly finished our own internal testing, and the next step is really to open it up to the public. So we'll be doing this in under 2 weeks. We hope that everyone provides feedback. They love what they see. It will still be on testnet while we're conducting beta testing, our compliance audit, as well as our security audits. But it'll be fully interactable and look live, with the exception that it'll say testnet on the top part. And if you're familiar with Propbase Yield, we have a similar structure for this as well. So for us, we like to build what we consider to be first-in-class products. So everything that Propbase does is to be first in class. We want to list on the top tier exchanges first in class. We want to build first in class products, whether it be mobile responsive, desktop, however people want to use it, even going into the app functionality so that people can just download it on iOS or Android. Another thing that we also are going to be discussing and doing specific publications of is our licensing roadmap. So as mentioned, Propbase is not something that is small. We think big. We act fast. We like to have a global appeal, right? So we'll be publishing our regulatory roadmap with estimated timelines, with an objective for global compliance with not only small tier jurisdictions. I understand we're in Thailand, right? We have securitizations vehicles here. We have in Europe, but with tier 1 jurisdictions. So, and why is this, right? So, well, Propbase really, we want to work with, the biggest of the big, right? So that comes down to really looking at, we want to be able to work not only with retail, but we want to be working with, sovereign wealth funds. We want to be working with real estate investment trusts. We want to be working with retirement funds. We want to be working with as large of retail aspect as we can. And that comes with having top tier jurisdictions and licensing within the areas of which we want to operate for the types of business that we're conducting within Propbase. And so everything that we do is with the gold standard and compliance, right? So when assets are tokenized and brought on chain, there's a level of compliance associated with it, and making sure not only from a technical, but also from a legal and regulatory perspective that Propbase checks all the boxes in order for us to really work with who we want to work with, which is the Franklin Templetons of the world, the Blackrocks of the world, and to scale Propbase to being a truly global brand name that everybody knows and is aware of and identifies as the leader in the real estate tokenization space. In addition to that, the next step is really going for mainnet. So that's a quick changeover. All the while, we'll be implementing UI UX enhancements, and that goes really for our proof of concept product market fit. We already have our asset tokenization partner. We're working with Wyndham Garden. So that's the first real step. Over the last 6 weeks, we've integrated Props utility. So when you try out the testnet, you'll be able to see the utility features associated within the actual application itself. And right after that is then the top 10 CEX listing, followed by likely in early May, our bridge to EVM. So that's what we've kind of got on the roadmap for the next 4 to 8 weeks. And we're super excited for everyone to be here. And we just really want to point out how early, if you're here on the call with us, if you're listening to the video, you guys are the ones who are early. Propbase is not, right now we're focused in Southeast Asia. We're focused more specifically in Thailand. That makes sense for us. We have relationships here. We have asset tokenization partnerships here. We have our backgrounds in past businesses or within this region. But as we begin to grow, we want to think big, and that really involves a global approach. So that was really the kind of, and we've kind of had this ethos even in the beginning when we started at the very conception. So everything that you hear from us on previous AMAs and subsequent AMAs, we always reiterate the same thing, right? We're building a business. You guys are here. You're exceptionally early, right? So you're at a time when we're really just rolling out our products, right? And as we, grow, we're always positioning Propbase to be the easiest to understand. We're in the perfect narrative. We're in the perfect subsector of cryptocurrency. And we're really looking at capturing as much value as possible for all stakeholders, for all props holders, and to really, do things in best practices. And so that's kind of our next 2 months. So as you can see, April's jam-packed for us. We're doing conferences, we're rolling out products. It's kind of the culmination of the last 6 months of work. And I think that can be seen in a lot of our communities posting and everything, which, it's just so humbling to see the response from, community members go out and support Propbase, support props, and really, be able to bring us to the next level, right? So that's one of the most exciting parts. And I'm going to continue on for a few more minutes, and then we'll hop into some questions. I think you guys know here. So just a little bit about Propbase. We have a leadership team. We have a few advisors. Some we publicize. Some we work with third-party providers like legal companies. But really, we're really about a team of about 19, which involves full-time and part-time staff, right? So you guys know we have a pretty strong marketing team. We have community moderation, and then we have a very strong technical team. So we've worked with our team for a while on past products. You can see we rolled out Propbase Yield. It's phenomenal. And we really bring it into really 3 core products. And so the leadership team is really myself, Jesse Hudson. We're all best friends. We all worked together for a long time. We really try and bring value, but core, we're doing something very big. We're disrupting the world's largest asset class. And if you go in and you want to check out our LinkedIns and our backgrounds and everything, we have the backgrounds and the track record to be able to build and scale and execute a successful business like Propbase. We know exactly what we're going to do. We know how we're going to implement it. We know how we're going to scale it. And we know how to do so in an effective way. And a lot of it starts with building a strong community, as you guys always hear Hudson kind of talk about. So going on to kind of the next one is, as you can see, Propbase Rise, our subsequent marketing campaign after Propbase Spark, is phenomenal. It's growing. We're now one of the top trending RWA projects in crypto. We're massively growing in terms of holder base. I updated this slide from our last one. We were at about 6,000 on-chain holders. We had very less followers. We had very less transactions, everything. So we're growing across all metrics, which is nice to see. One of the interesting things that we always notice is really how we're rating amongst other altcoins in the market. So we've built organically from our IDOs just this core group of phenomenal influencers in the space who are really trying to educate people, which is what I think is the core aspects of what an influencer should be. And that can be kind of seen just from the organic rise. So if you see stuff about Propbase, some of it's by our KOLs, some of it's just organic out there, and it's phenomenal to see our growth trending, not only on a monthly basis, but sometimes every day. Sometimes we're less, but overall we're one of the top 10 coins in the cryptocurrency space, and we're really looking to take it to the next level. So we're just we see a lot of opportunity to capture in the next really short term, and then also over the next 3 to 6 months. We work exceptionally hard in order to do the best that we can do. And also we've had phenomenal results over the last 6 months, and have proven not only in past businesses, but also in Propbase, which is a strong track record of growth. Another aspect of our attraction is, so we built a separate standalone product called Propbase Yield. I'm in love with it. We're constantly making new enhancements, by the way. I don't know if people are always going in, but the reception that we've had in terms of traction has just significantly grown. We have over 35% of our total circulating supply staked within over 10 different staking pools, and over 550 users. I think I just checked in, it was like 560, which is great to see, right? So this is a product that is built specifically on Aptos. It's built specifically for Propbase. It's built for our community. And we're constantly making UI UX improvements. We're adding a few more intelligence-based dashboards for people who have props staked within the pools, because we also stake inside of it. We also use it. We also unstake and participate in pools and claim data. We like to interact with it, and we like to make it better. One thing is, if you're a community member, if you're a participant out there and you have some feedback, we'd love to hear from you. We're always doing more testing, but it's had a phenomenal run, and will continue to be evolved and continue to adapt and continue to grow. Now kind of going into really our marketing campaign. So we've grown our core KOL team. We've done YouTube promos. We've done them on other channels. We like to do them now on this channel. And yeah, we're just continuing to grow. So I think one of the things is, if you are a KOL, you're looking to get involved with Propbase, we're easy to approach. We're easy to reach out to. We have plans and programs that you can participate in. And if there's other things that you want to do, you're more than happy to reach out to us, because this is an area of the business that I'm personally involved in, as well as our community moderation team. You guys all know Brad in there as well. And we love to be, support you guys, and we all want to grow together. So one thing that we try to do is we try to share alpha directly to all of the KOLs. We want people who are supporting Propbase, who are out there, hustling every day, trying to think of great content. We want them to grow their followers. We know that if they grow their followers, we will grow our followers. So we are here to really do everything that we can do in order to support our community, and to get as much information out there as possible, especially with new alpha. So yeah, I think that now we're at 34 minutes, so we're ready to hop into some questions. What do you think, Jesse?
Sounds good. We're ready for the questions.
Okay,
and I see there's a lot of movement in our chat here in the YouTube live chat.
Okay,
I see some questions coming in. I know we've also got people on Telegram, so things are moving.
Yeah, okay. So, hey, look, guys, Okay, so give us a second here. We've got some questions here. And the way we do this, you guys, is we just kind of pick randomly, and we have a relaxed conversation for 25 minutes. We can obviously go longer if necessary. So I've got a question here from Platinum Indigo, which I think is good. Can you discuss your marketing strategies for the next 6 months, and how do you plan to market Propbase to capitalize as the leader in the RWA space? I mean, it's a great question, right? Because you have to essentially run two businesses in one, right? So part of the business is building out our token economy, which is making props more accessible to people who want to either participate directly in our platform through asset tokenization, or they just want to hold props and as a part of their crypto asset portfolio, which has nothing to do with real estate. But part of that aspect for us is growing our offerings on exchanges. So we have conversations with all the top exchanges as per CoinMarketCap, which ranks it. So part of it is going on more exchanges. That's one aspect for us. It also includes some strategic exchanges, which we like as well. So some strategic exchanges might be they focus in Taiwan, or they focus in other markets. And while it's good for us, because if we have and we want to build a strong following in Southeast Asia, we largely would gear towards exchanges that focus. But then just from an overall perspective, going on top tier exchanges is attractive because it's newsworthy. It's also a lot of marketing. And it's good for our overall liquidity, right? So one of the aspects we said was, hey, look, our goal is to reach $1 million in trading volume. We reached that goal. Now, we want to consistently maintain above our next goal, which is, $5 million in daily trading volume. So how do we get there? We just look at what do we need to do in order to do that? How many more exchanges do we need to go on? What exchanges are there? What is our expected volume on those exchanges? And then the implementation, execution of rolling that roadmap out. So that's one aspect. And then from the RWA aspect, it really is, we like to tokenize assets that have a global appeal. So these are brands really at its core. So we announced a few partnerships with Wyndham through property developers. We've got more partnerships that we've lined up. We haven't announced yet. Continuing to grow attractive assets, bring those assets on chain, tokenize them, and then for us to create, from a tech stack aspect, a very simple, easy to use platform where users can come on, they can invest, they can. When they so choose, they can divest by selling those tokens to another prop-based user at a time and price of their choosing, and that creates kind of the flywheel. And as simple as it sounds, we're actually solving a massive pain point facing traditional real estate investment, right? So when we think about how do we become the market leader, we kind of think about that, but we actually focus more internally on our ability to execute. What do we want to, we also notice that sometimes on a daily basis, we can't achieve as much, but over the month, we can achieve more than what we had planned. And that's when we sometimes get ahead of our roadmap, because even though on a daily or on a sprint technical basis, we might not have achieved as much, but on the monthly basis and on the quarterly basis, we actually end up achieving more than what we planned. We announced we would go on our first CEX in Q1. We ended up going in Q4 of 2023, and we've launched already on 2 subsequent CEXs, as well as 3 DEXs. And so what I see is probably Propbase being listed on about 15 to 20 over the next year. not only centralized exchanges, but also decentralized exchanges as well. So that's a great question. Thank you. And oh, I see Hudson's in the chat as well, answering questions. That's great to see. So I got a question from Reso Boss here. So what is the use case of Props utility? So Props is a utility token. It serves as a uniform method of settlement for all smart contract interaction on our platform, specifically Propbase Nexus. And it serves as a for all fees associated with property transactions on our platform, for access to new listings, but is separate from the actual property value, right? So when we talk about a utility and then we talk about real estate tokenization, they're not interlinked. We don't want them to be interlinked simply from a regulatory standpoint, because Props is a utility. That's what its legal opinion is described. The asset tokenization falls in line with securities. So that's where the difference particularly lies. Because we tokenize the underlying asset value, not economic rights or forward-looking rents or yield associated with it. We tokenize the underlying asset value placed specifically within a compartment in a securitization vehicle. And so I see, okay, good. Yeah, so right. Oh, so this is a good question for Pragasit Charon Raksa. That's great. So what is our where are we at with legal compliance for the first hotel? So we already have securitization vehicles set up. We have a fund structure that allows us to tokenize up to $100 million in assets within a 12-month period. We can only do that within a certain amount of tokens, so there is some limitations. But really, it's great for us as we're starting up. It puts together a package that is able for us to be able to compliantly and follow all regulatory framework in order to do so, and be able to tokenize the underlying economic value or the underlying value of that asset rather than a different type of tokenization structure. But as we begin to grow and as we begin to scale and think, hey, look, Propbase doesn't want, we're not just tokenizing rooms or a hotel or 1,000 hotels in Thailand. We're looking to go global, right? So that involves a separate regulatory framework, which we're already in the process of. And we want to be everything from a gold standard, top tier jurisdictions. And that's one of really the parts that one, there's barrier to entry. It costs a significant amount of money in order to process those applications. But it also, for us, you know, who do we want to work with? So I mentioned before, we want to work with, you know, not only retail, but we want to work with, you know, asset managers. We want to work with, you know, large funds. We want to work with, you know, global giants in the space. As mentioned, like sovereign wealth funds, or we want to work with real estate investment trusts. We want to work with, you know, the global brand names out there, such as Franklin Templeton and BlackRock. And so with that, in order for us to work with those partners, we have to go through the regulatory compliance processes that would allow us to qualify. And so while that's the current structure and framework, that's literally our roadmap over the next 6 to 12 months. So we have a solution that compliantly allows us to tokenize assets. There's some restrictions associated with the scalability of that. But really, when it comes down to it, when we think big, we're going for full regulatory, full compliance over the next 6 to 12 months. And I think that's you know, what every, you know, RWA platform, every RWA project should look to, who wants to work with these giants, right? Are we planning for a Chainlink integration? I have conversations with Chainlink. I think I talked about it on a previous AMA, and so I was reading a question, but Chainlink. So yeah, I mean, look, Jesse and I have built a few products before that aggregated data specifically for real estate value to be appraised, and it is I think bringing that same type of product and bringing it through an oracle like Chainlink and bringing that metric on chain is very attractive. So one of the things that we did in our token allocations is we created a foundation, right? So which will be a separate entity in and of itself. So part of that foundation we've lightly described, but one of the aspects is it wants to bring titles on chain, and then it wants to bring the data on chain in order for us to streamline the transaction process. So Chainlink's quite important in that aspect. And that's just, I think it's where every country needs to go. Maybe less so in more sophisticated markets like Germany and maybe UK, but in emerging markets, it's really necessary, right? So a lot of title management, a lot of property values aren't declared correctly. So the impact that blockchain can have on emerging markets is significantly more than traditional established markets. So we've been in the space for a long time. I've transacted tens of thousands of properties, and it's still a difficult process. So bringing assets on chain and bringing the overall metric of the value from every asset on chain, I think is the next step over the 5 to 10 year period. And so that's something that personally I'd like to see and am quite passionate about, and also supports Propbase in what we're doing, which is great. Antone, so proud of you guys. Thank you. I'm from France. And so thank you, Antone. So we'll, Jesse, do you see a good question we should go after?
Let's see, lots of questions here. I think you've already talked a little bit about regulation. Some questions around testnet. Let's see. Keep the questions coming because we're watching.
Yeah, okay. So how we're going to roll out testnet on Nexus is after we come back from Hong Kong, we'll deploy the setup. We'll put a passcode underneath it. We'll do it the same way we did Propbase Yield, almost exactly, right? So our technical team's familiar with that process. I roll out products like that all the time. So we do it probably over a period of like 2 weeks. At the same time, we're running out testnet. More people can come in, they can access. We then remove the passcode. And then what happens is if someone then signed up and went through the process, we'll still look to try and keep that data there, even though it's on testnet when we roll it over to mainnet. And so people going in and looking at it, testnet for us has two purposes. One is we want to get about 50 to 100 participants on using the platform, interacting with the platform through we call mock property auctions. And then at the same time, we have penetration testing from a company, we have compliance from another company, and then we have security at a contract level, which we work with Certic and Hacken, and one more also on-chain analysis provider. So it takes us about 2 weeks to run through the testnet. At the same time, we're making anywhere from 40 to 80 enhancements. And then we roll it over to mainnet, and then we do our proof of concept product market fit, and that's for the first asset. Then after that, that's when things get exciting, because that's when, personally, that's when I'm exceptionally bullish on Propbase. I'm bullish now, but that's when, that's when press releases everywhere, Web 2 space, Web 3 space. That's when, we're really out there shouting the name Propbase, props. We're doing this because another thing is we've done this all in record speed, right? So where Propbase is kind of known is for extremely fast execution. So we know that the RWA scene is new, it's exciting. We were in this space before. We've been building we've had a full-time technical team since June, let's say July at the latest, right? Before that, it was just myself coding with a few other guys, and Jesse providing a lot of the tips and everything. And we were small back then, right? So we actually built Nexus V1 in H2 of 2023. We ran through partial testing. We then built Yield because the community, we saw a value add for the community. Then what we did was we wanted to enhance props utility within Nexus prior to launch. And always our roadmap has been to tokenize our first asset at the end of April. That's kind of always been it. So if we were kind of ahead of our roadmap a little bit. That's how we were able to deploy Propbase Yield. And with Nexus, that's it. And then what happens is then after about, we'll do a quick reassess after proof of concept product market fit. We'll probably make between 1 to 200 small improvements and enhancements. And then we'll roll out a full-on marketplace where we already have those assets. And that's a package of assets. It's not specifically one.
Kev, we're getting questions in the chat. I see one question from Laurence, who's asking why not use CCIP. Maybe you can handle that one, Kev. There's another question from Cactus Crypto. He says, what motivated you guys to start this project, right? So maybe I'll start with that as Kevin thinks over the CCIP question. Thank you for the question, Cactus. We, as Kevin mentioned earlier, we have experience rolling out platforms at scale, and having done some work in Web 2 in the property space, we saw the limitations of that potential, right? And we were looking at the market and just seeing people who, wanted to invest in property but couldn't do it because they, when you want to invest in property in the traditional way, you have to kind of finance the whole thing. And that meant that it was really hard for everyday people to get into property investment, right? And so what really motivated us and inspired us to get started here is to make property investment accessible and available to the masses, people who traditionally couldn't get in on that growth story. And that's really what inspired us from day one. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that for Cactus's question, and then CCIP, Kev.
Yeah. So Jesse and I come from it depends on where you're from, but there's companies like Zillow and Rightmove in the UK and Zillow in the United States. We built platforms like this and scaled those platforms. The platform before that myself and Hudson were core contributors and builders of had over 1 billion page views per month. So as we began to really focus in the property vertical, and bringing first the property information online outside of newspaper publications, which was like 15 years ago, we wanted to get into the transaction space. So in past businesses, we used to transact anywhere from 1 to 200 properties per month, where we would handle the entire process and try and streamline it. We noticed at the beginning of that process there was a problem, and it had to do with the underlying asset itself. And blockchain solves that problem through the tokenization by placing it in some cases an LLC, in our cases a securitization vehicle, because people want to invest and trade in and trade out of that. So we saw problems that were restricting flow into property investment, and Propbase solves all those problems. It lowers the barrier to entry, it enhances liquidity, it reduces fees. You're able to transact between 5 and 15 minutes. You're able to get in and out of investments securely. And through our model, which is in theory, is technically decentralized, you're able to then look specifically at, okay, on this specific property, how many wallets are participating, how many tokens representing the underlying asset are in that wallet. And even part of our foundation, we're integrating a separate module called, which is more of an explorer, where anyone can go in and see how many transactions happened on Propbase at any given time in a live format, not gated. And so we feel as though that solves the major pain points. And here's another thing. We're in Southeast Asia. It's got 650 million people. It has the highest crypto adoption of anywhere in the world. It has a high demand for real estate investment, and there's a younger generation, and these younger generations, they all want a new value proposition. They want to buy it from their smartphone in 5 to 15 minutes. They want to do so in a streamlined and user-friendly format. That is specifically what we're building, and we integrated that into Yield. So you saw, I think from an hour development time, Propbase Yield was around 2,000 to 2,200 hours of development time. Nexus is around 6,000. So there's much more features associated with it. And then and don't quote me on this, but once we've ironed out all the enhancements we want on the web app platform, then we roll it into an app, which is, we'll go both Android and iOS. I see a question here from incentives for EVM Bridge testing will be a huge exposure. Airdrops, community. So we partnered with Alliance Block, which one of the things, we haven't thought about airdrops specifically on the EVM side, but we do want to provide incentivization for people who support that. One of the aspects is everything from, our objective for bridging props to EVM, specifically the token, is to access liquidity from those EVM chains, which are people who want to buy props and hold props, but aren't familiar with an Aptos wallet, aren't familiar with the Aptos ecosystem, but yet they want to get familiar with props. So yeah, we have on their DeFi terminal, we've looked into it. We've signed a contract with them. We're looking to use them for liquidity. We're going to provide incentives for people who add the liquidity for that. But that is part of our EVM bridge. And our EVM bridge, it's how do I put it? It's a step for us to kind of go to the next level. But our core tokenization platform is on Aptos, built in the Move programming language. So when people want to interact with Nexus, they have to go in through props on Aptos. And that'll be that way for a while, just because personally, I feel very comfortable with the Move programming language. I feel very comfortable with Aptos, and I very happy and familiar with the documentation and everything. Okay, we're going to continue on here. Pieter Vandersype. So he said, what we're seeing in the last few weeks, months are baby steps. If you realize what's coming up for props, Look, we're scaling, right? So we did a few things. We enhanced our technical team. We're bringing on more advisors. We're having more conversations also with VCs. Everything to scale us to that next level, right? So as mentioned, what you've seen in kind of the last 6 months is don't get me wrong, it's phenomenal, but it is really just the beginning. And I think the next 6 months are actually going to be the most exciting for Propbase and for our community and everyone. I just think it's exciting. Personally, I'm on Nexus all the time. I'm on Yield all the time. Now we're incorporating additional props utility within Nexus. We'll continue to do so. And yeah, we're excited. But really the narrative and everything has come behind us to really validate what we're building, what our mission is. And it's nice seeing that come into the space. And Propbase is just perfectly positioned to capture this narrative, and we like to operate exceptionally fast. CCIP, yeah, CCIP through Chainlink. We'll look into it. It's not a high priority, but it's something more that we want when we begin to look at the next level. So it's more associated with our AI initiatives that we want to pursue later in the year. But right now, we're just laser focused on the steps that I laid out a little bit earlier, about 30, 40 minutes ago, and continuing to scale. So, that's what we're going to focus on for the immediate future. And our implementation, and our roadmap is pretty crystal clear. We even have it down to exactly what we're going to do on a week by week basis. Platinum Indigo, are you creating short videos, stuff for investors? Yeah, we for the asset tokenization, it's different. It'll be more informative videos with myself talking about it. We'll create specific videos associated with the underlying asset, so people can feel that they know everything about the property. Our whole objective is to be able to confidently invest in real estate assets from a distance, right? So that's how we go with the global appeal. And everything that we do is to take out the liability with the underlying asset, which is why we focus on the type of asset class that we do, which is hotels and resorts. Lawrence Howard. Yeah, okay. I hope I answered it. It's on our radar, but it's a little bit further down the roadmap. But it's something I'm passionate about. Yeah. Are we not allowed to talk about our EVM partnership yet? I'll tell you, for our bridging, we have a few solutions of specifically where we want to bridge props to. Probably towards the late part of April, we'll begin talking specifically about what we're looking, specifically what chain. So first, realistically. And, obviously we kind of know the ones that are there. We know the ones that are attractive. We know the ones that are, but Ethereum, you have Polygon, you have Solana, you have AVAX, you've got, a few more, Base we're even in conversations with, but really, yeah, we've shortlisted chains, and we have a rollout to where we can roll out on more if we'd like to. And this involves a partnership with Layer Zero. Also, Change Finance has been hugely instrumental in helping us with bridging. So yeah, I mean, we're on top of it. We've already been on this though for about two and a half months. And yeah, Bart Schulten, great question. So educational content is key, right? So specifically. So we've planned for this. It's not going to be in the rollout of Nexus upon testnet or mainnet, but we have lightly scoped in an educational module that onboards new users onto Nexus. So that would roll out at the same time or around early summer is the plan. Thank you. That's a great question, by the way. Jesse, you seeing any more? Or should we hop on to the winners?
Are we doing winners today? Yeah, I mean, there's quite a few questions, but we do these very often, so we can always take further questions and always ready to answer them in our chats too. We're coming up on the hour. Let's see. Should we vote for the winners? How many are we doing today?
Let's do 2 winners. We always do more than one. The way we go about the winners for the best question is I'm going to let Jesse pick both. And but a few more questions are, yeah, well, if we missed your question, I'll try and go back in and answer it in the Telegram after this. But yeah, let's hop on to winners.
All right, I think our first winner, and this is because Lawrence was asking questions about CCIP, and he was in the chat, and he was very persistent, polite but persistent. So I would say our first winner should be Lawrence Howard.
Well, okay.
There we go.
Okay, actually, we have to. Lawrence Howard, can you leave your Telegram or your what is it, Twitter handle within the chat? Got it. Okay, got it. The best question: who's your favorite, Kev, Jesse, or Hudson? I'd say it's Jesse. This is the one everyone loves to see, right?
I don't know. Kevin's the man with the vision, and I being humble here, I'd say Kevin always has to be number one, right?
Okay, great, guys. So who is the next winner?
I'm still looking. What do you think, Kevin? Any suggestions?
It's up to you. I think these are all great questions. So we really love the fact, thank you everyone for typing your questions in. This helps us as a project really understand the type of questions you have. We learn from it. We write these down. We come back. We do meetings based off of it. And yeah, I think that go for the next one. I would say go for, if we answered their question, it'd be great.
I think we should the second one should go to Kun Pragasit, because we always, we are all Southeast Asian at heart, and I recognize a Southeast Asian probably Thai name when I see one. So Kun Pragasit Charan Raksa, thank you very much for the question. I think you're our second winner today.
Yeah, I think that was a great question. That was a great question too. So yeah, you guys, hey, thank you so much everyone for just, taking an hour out of your day, listening to this. Thank you anyone who watches the recording. We're going to be in Hong Kong next week. We're going to be firing on all cylinders in April. We've got a jam-packed month. It's exciting. Everything, Propbase is perfectly positioned in order to capture the narrative, to scale. We have the right team. We've got the simple, easy to understand concept. We've got, the narrative behind us, and we're excited. So we work a lot, but working with you guys and doing these AMAs is one of the more funner parts of the job, I guess you could say. And I know that it's, a fight between Jesse or Hudson or whoever gets to be on, and we kind of rotate all the time. Because we don't want like 4 or 5 people or 3 people all interjecting. And so our next AMA, we're probably going to do with a few other RWA projects, you guys. We'll probably do it on Twitter. And then stay tuned for some announcements. I'll be trying to get some video and everything and photos from our Aptos Hong Kong trip. We're super excited about that. And we're ready to rock and roll. And let's make 2024 the year of props. All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. If you are to the second winner, just place your Telegram or your handle in your Twitter handle, and then we'll reach out to you. And so thank you everyone for joining, and have a lovely weekend and a happy holiday for everyone who's around the world, and see you on the next one.